Hello and welcome to Electro Nerds Academy. In this video, we're going to interface the MAX6675 Thermocouple Module with Arduino and learn how to measure extreme temperatures with ease. Now, before we jump in, if you haven't watched our previous video on the SPI protocol and Arduino's built-in SPI library, we highly recommend checking that out first. It'll make this video much easier to follow. So far in our video series, we've worked with temperature sensors like the DHT11 and 22, LM35, TMP36, and the DS18B20. These sensors are perfect for everyday temperature measurements. But what if we need to measure extremely high temperatures, like inside a furnace, or extremely low temperatures, like liquid nitrogen? Well, these sensors simply can't handle that. That's where thermocouples come in. A thermocouple is a special type of temperature sensor made from two different metal wires joined together at one end. This joint is called the hot junction, and this is where we measure the temperature. The other ends are connected to a measuring device and are known as the cold junction. A thermocouple works on the thermoelectric effect, also known as the Seebeck effect. When heat is applied to the hot junction, electrons in the metals gain energy and start moving. Since the wires are made of different metals, electrons behave differently in each wire, creating a small voltage difference between the two ends. The wire that accumulates more electrons at the cold junction becomes the negative lead, while the one with fewer electrons becomes the positive lead. This small voltage represents the temperature difference between the hot and cold junctions. For example, if the hot junction is at 100 degrees Celsius, and the cold junction is at 25 degrees Celsius, the thermocouple will only produce a voltage corresponding to 75 degrees, not 100 degrees. So to get the actual temperature, we need to measure the cold junction temperature separately and add it back. This process is called cold junction compensation. And this is exactly where the MAX6675 module makes our life much easier. The MAX6675 takes that tiny voltage from the thermocouple, performs cold junction compensation internally, converts the signal into digital data using its built-in ADC, and then sends the final temperature value to the Arduino using SPI communication. It uses a 12-bit ADC, giving us a resolution of 0.25 degrees Celsius. It can measure temperatures from 0 degrees up to 1,024 degrees Celsius with an accuracy of around plus or minus 3 degrees. It operates between 3 to 5.5 volts and consumes very little current, typically around 700 microamps. And the maximum current value can reach up to 1.5 milliamps. Now let's take a quick look at the module. On one side, we have 5 pins, VCC and GND for power, SCK for the SPI clock, CS for chip select, and SO, which is the data output pin, also known as MISO. On the other side, we have 2 terminals for connecting the thermocouple probe. There are different types of thermocouples like Type J, Type K, and Type T, but the probe that comes with this module is a Type K thermocouple. It's about 18 inches long and has a measurement range of around 0 degrees to 80 degrees Celsius. It is made of 2 different alloys, chromel, which forms the positive lead, and alumel, which forms the negative lead. The red wire is positive and the blue wire is negative. Now let's wire everything up. First, we will connect the VCC pin of the module to the 5 volts pin on the Arduino and GND to ground. Next, we will connect the SCK pin to Arduino pin 13, CS pin to Arduino pin 10, and SO pin to Arduino pin 12. Finally, we will connect the thermocouple probe to the module, red wire to the positive terminal and blue wire to the negative terminal. When it comes to programming this module, there are 2 main approaches. The first is using a dedicated MAX6675 library by Adafruit. It's very simple to use and perfect for beginners. However, it is slower and less efficient because it simulates SPI communication by manually toggling pins instead of using the Arduino's built-in SPI hardware. The second approach is to use the Arduino's built-in SPI library. This method is faster, more efficient, and gives us much greater control compared to Adafruit's library. The trade-off, however, is that the code becomes a bit more complex and less beginner-friendly. Even so, in this video, we'll be using the second approach. Now, before jumping into the code, let's quickly understand how the MAX6675 sends data. Every time we pull the chip select pin low, the MAX6675 starts transmitting a 16-bit data stream with the MSB first format. This data includes temperature information along with a few status bits. The first bit is just a dummy sign bit and is always 0. Then comes the 12 bits that actually represent the temperature data. Bit 2 is important. It goes high if the thermocouple is disconnected. Bit 1 is used as a device ID, and bit 0 is a state bit. The MAX6675 does not send temperature directly in degrees Celsius. Instead, it sends a digital value, where a single step represents 0.25 degrees Celsius. So a value of 1 means the measured temperature is 0.25 degrees Celsius. A value of 2 means 0.5 degrees, a value of 3 means 0.75 degrees, and a value of 4 means 1 degrees Celsius. In other words, every increase of 1 adds 0.25 degrees. This is because the MAX6675 has a resolution of 0.25 degrees Celsius. For example, if the sensor sends a value of 200, the actual temperature will be 200 multiplied by 0.25 degrees, which equals 50 degrees Celsius. Now that we understand the data, let's move on to the code. First, we include the SPI library so we can use the Arduino's SPI hardware. Then we define the chip select pin, which is pin 10 in our setup. Next, we create an SPI settings object called MAX6675_SPI. This takes 3 parameters: clock speed, bit order, and SPI mode. Let's quickly justify these values using the datasheet. For clock speed, the MAX6675 supports up to 4.3 MHz. So we choose 4 MHz. It's the closest safe standard value below the limit. We could go slower, like 1 or 2 MHz, but there's no need to sacrifice speed when the device can handle more. Next is the bit order. According to the datasheet, the MAX6675 sends the most significant bit first, so we use MSB first. Finally, the SPI mode. From the timing diagram, we can see that the clock starts low and data is read on the first edge, which is the rising edge. That means both clock polarity and phase are 0, so we use SPI mode 0. Inside the setup function, we initialize serial communication so we can print the temperature readings on the serial monitor. Then we set the chip select pin as an output and keep it high by default, since the MAX6675 becomes active when this pin goes low. After that, we start SPI communication using the SPI.begin function. Now let's move to the loop function. We start by declaring a 16-bit integer variable called data. This is where we'll store the incoming data from the MAX6675. To read from the MAX6675, we first begin the SPI transaction using the begin transaction function and pass our SPI settings object MAX6675_SPI to it as a parameter. Then we pull the CS pin low to start communication. After that, we use the SPI.transfer16 function to read all the 16 bits in one go. While this function sends dummy data, it simultaneously receives data from the sensor and stores it in our data variable. Once the data is received, we pull CS pin high again and end the SPI transaction using the end transaction function, freeing up the SPI bus. Now comes the processing part. First, we check bit 2 of the received data to see if the thermocouple is connected. We do this using a bitwise AND operation between the data variable and the value 4. Why do we use the number 4? Because when we convert it into a 16-bit binary number, we can see that only the second bit position is set to 1, while all other bits are 0. So if we perform a bitwise AND operation between this number and our received data, we are effectively checking that specific bit. If bit 2 of the received data is 1, it indicates that no thermocouple is connected. The AND operation then returns a non-zero value, which is 4, making the if condition true, and we display an error message on the serial monitor. But if bit 2 of the received data is 0, it means the thermocouple is connected. In this case, the AND operation returns 0, and the if condition becomes false. In the else block, we first shift the data right by 3 bits to remove the first 3 unused bits. This gives us the actual temperature value. Then we simply multiply it by 0.25 to convert it into degrees Celsius and print the result to the serial monitor. At the end, we add a 1-second delay so the readings update once every second. Now, let's upload the code and see it in action. Once the upload is complete, open the serial monitor and you'll notice the temperature values updating continuously. Right now, it's displaying the ambient temperature. Now, if we bring the probe in contact with a heat source, like a soldering iron, you'll see the temperature start rising steadily, and within a short time, it crosses the 100-degree mark. As soon as we remove the heat source, the temperature begins to drop again. Next, let's try something cold. If we place the probe near ice, you can clearly see the temperature decreasing in real time. And that brings us to the end of this video. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Electro Nerds Academy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.